Greetings, everyone. Happy Easter. I hope you're ready for a real hardcore talk, discussion, truth, and everything in between that. I'm going to throw everything at you, everything except the kitchen sink. But everything I'm going to tell you is my ultimate truth, and it is the truth. You can accept it or not. Whether you will stay here or not will be up to you. There'll be parts where I'm sure you're going to try to leave or leave. But if you get anything out of this, I'm happy to do that. I'm going to go over things that are real, that are solid, not make-believe, not storyland stories. And I will prove a couple things near the end, based on the Bible, since we're talking about Easter. All right. Here's where it's going to start. Do you believe in Easter? All right. Why? You're told to, you're forced to. There's a lot of different reasons why people follow Easter. Religions, people that are religious that think Easter is something really important, which it is. But how and everything else about the facts around that get mushed together with a lot of false truth. All right. I'm going to start off pretty simple, hopefully, and work our way into the hardcore stuff of this. Now, I know everybody out there has some kind of belief system. Believe in God, believe in not, believe in Jesus, believe in not, believe in Superman, Batman, who knows what you believe in. Believe in nothing, believe in death. Well, you have to, whether you want to believe anything happens after that or not is up to you. But right now, I can almost guarantee you're pretty much programmed in everything you think you know. Your actual thinking, to have that, you have to have your own experiences. And I'm not talking just about in the dream world. I mean, the dream world can become reality. But to translate it and all those other things are very critical, which very few people can do. All right. Now, the religions that believe in Jesus, all right, Jesus Christ, are Christians. All right, we have Catholics, Protestants, and a lot of in-between religions in between that. How much do they believe of Moses? How much do they believe of all the other stories? There's so many different ways to look at this, especially upon the day before Easter. Now, what do you know about Easter? Anything about Easter? Were you told about Easter? Were you read a book about it? How did you find out about Easter? What do you remember about it? Do you care about it? Does it mean anything to you? Should it? I'm going to get into all this, and I'm going to prove a lot of things to you that you really need to look at. I don't care where you are in your religious point of life, spiritual point of life, what you believe in. I'm going to give you the ultimate truth. This is something you're not going to get anywhere else on the internet, and I promise you that. If you got the courage and the willpower and the strength to hang out. And listen, you're going to hate a lot of things. You might not believe a lot of things, but I'll let you prove it to yourself, and I'll go into that later. But are you ready to move a little bit forward in your spiritual quest, your religionist movement, whatever you call what you do in life? There's many religions on the planet. There's about over 2,000. There's about 4 important ones, which have the most population following. Christian being number 1, Muslims being number 2. And you got a lot of other little religions, all the way down to small religions. Something I'll tell you straight out, it's not written in the Bible, and I'll explain it later. Jesus said the most spiritual path, per word, will have the least followers. It's a very important phrase, considering you're not going to be able to find it anywhere else either. All right? I'm not going to give you, this whole thing away right away. I want you to start listening, try to understand what I'm saying, Tell yourself whether you agree with it or not. That's your choice. But you're not going to hear this anywhere else, and you probably might not ever in this lifetime. That's going hardcore, isn't it? Yeah. Because there's so many things happening, so many programs being created and everything else that keep people from moving forward spiritually, religiously, or truthfully. Do you want the truth? Are you ready for the truth? I hope so. So, what is Easter really? Now, it's not when the Easter Bunny came and put Easter eggs under your chairs and your yard and different places. That's a man called creating Easter. All right. Now, Jesus was crucified, I say killed. They call it resurrection, meaning coming back. All right. How was he killed? He was tortured and tortured and tortured, and then finally put to death on a cross. Now, there's thousands of different kind of stories in between that, belief systems. Jesus was an alien. Okay, ridiculous, but people want to believe that. All right. Jesus didn't die. Well, I'm going to explain that before I get too heavy into the rest of this stuff. If Jesus didn't die, all right, it was all a fake story, and Jesus was teaching these people. I mean, he had a lot of followers. I mean, he had his disciples, which were around him all the time, but he was teaching a lot more people. Did they believe him? Why did they follow him? All right. He said a lot of things to them. Now, I'm going to get into that in detail, but real quickly, he was teaching them what? Not the concept. We're going to go into concepts of what mankind gives him credit for. All right. One of them is forgiveness. Two of them, number two, is protection. Three is love. All right. Now, I'm going to break them down, but getting back to the point, Jesus came to teach people something. It takes time to teach people something. So now, all right, how do you teach love to anybody? You truly don't. Can you teach compassion to a person? You can try. Whether they become or not, it's up to that person. Forgiveness, it's easy to accept an idea that you're forgiven for everything you do if you ask for it. But another delusional idea. All right, now, the biggest one, and I knew you might just click right off the screen, which is for the chicken way out. Jesus never said he was God. Ever. In his life, which was very short. In the Bible, it twists one of his sentences to say that he said he was God. But he didn't say that. And he didn't say it that way. Everything you read was written by a man trying to perceive a teaching in a way that he never heard of, understood, and was trying to understand. All right. So, now the word resurrection means he was crucified, dead, and buried, and then risen 3 days later. After they buried him, took him off the cross and put him in a cave. But here's the thing. Mankind's idea in Christianity kind of believed like he just got up, walked out of the cave. He did not walk out as a person. Now, that's something religion doesn't go into because they don't know, they weren't there. All right. A soul, what we truly are, dwells inside this humdrum body. To me, it's one of the most disgusting things, but to people that love their body, they're always trying to make it better and all those kind of words. But during this time frame, when Jesus came out, all right, who did he meet? Mary Magdalene. All right, something that people in a religious frame should know. Mary, the mother of Jesus, didn't do anything after giving birth to Jesus. She followed Mary Magdalene around. She was always behind her. She did absolutely nothing after that. Now, Mary Magdalene was just the opposite. I'm going to go into that in detail, all right, because that's one of the most important parts of the Bible that Christianity just kind of erased. Like the United States is trying to erase their history, their pathetic, twisted history. Let's erase it. Why? Because one particular race doesn't like it? But it's the truth. Well, partial truth. But let's just erase it anyway because we don't want to say how bad we were and pretend you're good people. All right, that's kind of what Jesus was dealing with. All right. So he rose from the dead and he came out as a soul being. And Mary Magdalene met with him. She went back to his disciples and told them that he has risen. Obviously, they didn't believe it because they were all ready to leave and walk away from their whole teaching. You can't teach somebody about something unless you can prove it. And the proof was what Jesus had to give them. If Jesus didn't die, he wouldn't have proved anything to them. They would have never believed what he was teaching. He was teaching about life after death. Period. You can say what you want, believe what you want. That's what he taught. If he couldn't prove that, the teachings were useless. And how do you prove that? Obviously, he had to die. And they had to see him die. But the sad part of that, a lot of his own disciples and people around him helped convict him. Now, the other part of that story, Judas, the one that supposedly turned him in, had to do it because Jesus told him to do it. That's not in the Bible. No, he was like the evil person that decided to go against Jesus. I'm telling you, if you were alive in those days and you look in Jesus' eyes, your whole reality changed. Right? And you became a different person. It's true, and I'll explain that later. But Judas was the only one of his disciples that was 100% dedicated to do what Jesus told him. None of the other disciples would have followed through what they would have had to do. If your teacher came to you and said, well, tomorrow you got to turn me in and let them kill me, would you do it? Oh, no, you have to do that for me. Would you do it? Knowing about spiritual laws, religious laws, and all the other words, would you do it? You'd have to have incredible faith at that point to do it. But then again, after it has happened and you realize somebody really is dead, suddenly in this reality with the mind, of the feelings and emotions of the mind, really hurt Judas. Now he realized what he had done, even though he was asked to. So, Syrians committed suicide. But here's the thing. Carrying that much burden to sacrifice the most spiritual person that ever walked this planet, nobody came close to Jesus. Buddha had different teachings. Gandhi had his freedom things. Everybody had different things. Nobody taught about a real God. Nowhere in history was it ever taught. Deities and aliens came down, programming, brainwashing, trying to teach people to do things, become things. But none of it had to do with a real God. Not one single thing. Oh, simply just look at the planet. That's the easiest way to start off. All right? So, Christians believe he was killed and then put on a cross and then he rose. He was put in his cave and then he came out of it, which is partially, almost all true. That part of it. Was he given temporary sedative medicine to put him out so they could take him away later and all those kind of things? Men who do not believe in Jesus or want to believe in Jesus have to create a story that they can accept. And that's what man does. They don't like a story, they rearrange it, fix it, so that they can accept it in their twisted little reality. Now, you're being programmed by most people out there that you're an important person. All right, I have this debate with any spiritual person or UFO person, you name it. But name one spiritual person on this planet. Don't even say the Pope. Don't say the Dalai Lama, Eckhart Tolle, or anybody else. Because they're not dealing with the most important thing in all reality and unreality, and that's called God. Now, where does Jesus fit into this? Jesus was a man born out of a womb, okay? Proving he was immaculate conception, that's incredibly impossible, all right? Now, the other thing is, Jesus had two brothers and a sister. His one brother followed him and walked with him as long as he could, all right? Mary, the mother of Jesus, was just always hanging around, watching her son die and all that. She didn't do miracles. She didn't do anything after that. Now, Mary Magdalene, all right, became the teacher of all of Jesus's followers, the ones that stuck by him and stayed with him and were following him through. All right, because she was the only one that had the abilities that Jesus had. Think about it. How do you teach somebody doing miracles if you can't do them yourselves? Oh, I'm going to teach everybody how to fly. Really? I could spend infinity trying to do that. Will I ever teach somebody to fly? No. But people erase things they don't like, erase things they don't understand, and fill it with simple stuff. Oh, Jesus is God. Jesus forgives me. If I do something wrong, I'm okay. I'm protected. God loves me. Really? Why do people assume God has to love them? Murderers, rapists, thieves, stealers, liars, cursors. God has to love them. Why? Because of ego. Mind programming. Not because they deserve it. How many people on planet Earth deserve to be sitting next to God? Truth is, none. None! And none are. Well, people can rise to higher levels, which I'll get into, but not aliens, not demons and creatures and ghosts and spirits. They're all stuck in this physical realm. And they only go to the astral plane, which we'll go into. But are you willing to listen to truth? Real truth. Not stories by people, well, I'm a wannabe. Why? What do you know about God? Anything? What do you know about death? Anything? And I'm telling you, I'm talking about physical, spiritual, psychic experiences at every level that I went through, including being aware of all my past lives. All right? You don't have to believe that. You could leave. You don't believe in past lives. You'll learn it's true sooner or later. Meaning this lifetime or the next or the next or the next. Until you let go of ego, power, money, sex, and all the other things that keep you here, will you ever experience anything closer to God and understand anything Jesus was teaching? Where in the book in the Bible does it show Jesus' teaching? Oh, I mean, the parables that he gave to the simple-minded people? Now, the most, let's see, how do I go into this one? Well, realize he only lived about 30 years. All right, and at that point, Mary Magdalene had to take over. Now, to explain to his followers about love, how do you do that? All right, how do you explain to them about death and the incarnation? How do you explain to them about a God? I'm going to try to keep this together. I mean, I kind of wrote it out so I don't forget some of the things, but I'm going to kind of move around a little bit, and I'm sorry because I had a lot of problems with my mind and things all my life. I like to reverse things and keep everything in a circle. Well, Jesus couldn't finish teaching them the things they had to learn. All right. And what do you think these disciples were doing when they were sitting with him? Talking, oh, how do you love a person? Oh, you kiss them, you hug them. Women were not respected in that time frame. So the first and most important thing Jesus had to figure out, how do I tell these people about God? What would they understand if I talked about a real God? Nothing. Mankind today understands nothing about a real God. Why? Because they don't have any experience with it. Oh, I dealt with a few people. Oh, I talked to God. I wrote books on talking to God. Really? And what did God say? Love everybody? Really? Did it help anything in history? Ever? The Ten Commandments have nothing about love. Moses was teaching about sex and nudity and all kinds of stuff. He was worried about everything under the sun. He created 613 laws on top of the Ten Commandments. He was one of the highest black magicians that ever lived on this planet as well. And he kept screwing up, which makes it even more dangerous to be in his karma and life and death. But he didn't know that until he died. When he brought the people to the promised land, he wasn't allowed in it. People said, well, because he got mad in the temple, he did this, he did. No, that has nothing to do with it. There is one sin, and there's many sins you can't be forgiven for, but I'll start with the number one sin you cannot be forgiven for, and that's killing. All right? So, and after he came up the mountain, he had 3,000 people killed. When he got to the promised land, well, he let those people go in there, and they killed everybody that was there. So how spiritual were they? How aware of anything were they? All right. The most important thing in the Ten Commandments is the first one. And the Egyptians had no clue. Go back to the Anunnaki and every other race you want to talk about had no clue. You want to believe the programmed, twisted stories of the Anunnaki and everything else and forget about the human race and God? That's your choice. Living in this matrix of twisted program lies, thinking you're important, thinking you're doing something good. Now, second part of that, you are in hell, people. Oh, no, I'm in heaven. No, you're not. You're in hell. You don't go into hell. You're in it. Jesus taught about how to get out of here, not stay here. We'll go into that. But you want to be mind controlled, mind you know what? That's your choice. God gives everybody a choice to come back or stay here. I mean, not back directly next to God, but work your way back to it. And it's an incredible path. And it just gets better the higher you get into the other worlds. All right. I might go into Moses a little more and what was going on. I mean, yeah, there's names like Elijah and other words that they use and used. I use what people. All right. Jesus the man was the most spiritual being to walk on this planet. He had 32 psychic abilities. Those psychic abilities existed in Atlantis. They come off the astral plane. All right. When Atlantis went down, those abilities were taken away from mankind. Why? Real simple. Mankind abuses everything they touch now. When Atlantis went down, yeah, there were alien races here programming people to kill, rape, murder, steal, and all the other things that they do. All right? And even eat animals. Well, just for the record, Atlantis was the most incredible time in the history of planet Earth. It was the beginning of the Golden Age. All right? You didn't have to talk, and it was a beautiful place to be. That was my first lifetime on this physical world. I dealt with a lot of people that say they were there and did different things. There were 9 races there. 9 different colors if you want to color a race. 4 stayed, and I'm sure you know what colors they are called. But the ones that left, one of each race, the blue race, purple race, green race, each one person of each one of them became a little god. And like Krishna, Tara, they became deities for a word. Deities is little god to me. All right? And they all had their own teachings to teach. You can only teach what you know. You don't teach gods everything because you die. You don't become an angel because you die. You don't become superpowered because you die. All that has to be worked for. And when you do that, you will let go of the lower realm, starting with earth. Then you'll let go of the astral plane. Then you'll let go of the third plane, fourth plane, fifth plane, all the way up into the fifth plane, where soul likes to be. All right? Now, I'm going to quote some things if you stick around, what Jesus actually said, where it's in the Bible. And people don't even read it or understand it. If you can stick to the end, you'll hear it. If not, that's your choice. Run away. Hide from the truth. That's the easiest thing to do in life. Accept these people that tell you you're important, you're going to become the highest you can be, your higher self. You are your higher self. You're the highest you will ever be. You don't become higher. Just become a little more aware of who and what you look at when you look in the mirror. And say, oh, that's really me. No, it's not somebody else. It's not dreamland, storyland. It's who you are right now. What soul is walking around in. So, you know, Jesus' mother claimed to be a virgin. Did she? Well, they said she didn't have sex when Jesus was born to make an immaculate conception. And prove that. And does it matter? Jesus didn't become Superman because he was immaculate conception. He became what he was by believing. And I'll explain that. There's a few words we've got to get into. All right. As we move along. I got a lot to get into. Hopefully I can get into as much as I can that I want to. All right. Soul does not die. Never. Nope. Can you kill soul? No. Can you freeze it? No. Can you stab it, burn it? No. So all the stories you're going to hear about government and secret taking over bodies and repossessing them and all that, there's entities, there's deities, I mean, there's a lot of different words. But the entities that are here can move into a body. And they do. Give them a chance, they will. Now, I can explain it because it happened to me. When you're dying and your soul stepping out of your body, if your body's still alive, functioning, an entity could walk in there. And if you already have the permission and given the permission to leave, you leave your body. But that allows an entity to step in it if it's still savable. I don't mean if your head's cut off or something like that. Just had a heart attack. When you see these people like that and they're back in their body. Oh yeah, they're back in your body, most people. But if you're given the permission to leave, I had permission to leave twice. I really wanted, was given the permission, I decided I needed to stay. And not for a long time. There's no reason to. Mankind is becoming programmed, twisted, and sick, thinking they're moving forward. In what way? The most horrible things are most escalated things on the planet. Drugs, abuse, rape, incest, selling children. All those words are the highest making money things as well. The sickest perversion. And you don't think Satan's involved? Oh, it's the aliens. No, they're involved with their own thing. Aliens are here for a couple things, and one of them is mainly for food. Well, if we want to talk about that, we can. But okay. So when soul leaves this body, it takes its karma. Karma, what you create in life and death. All right, what you do, the things you do, how you act, how you react with things. And I'm telling you, killing will take that karma and make it sky high, so you'll have to come back maybe more than once. Again, twice, 3 times, who knows how many times each soul will have to come back. Depending on the intention. I'm not talking about accidental killing, death, like somebody jumped in front of your car and got run over. But it's still karma, all right? And how you deal with that, all right? If you were drinking and all the little things that could make it your own karma. So karma is what you get decided on when you get into the astral plane. At that point, you're allowed to stay there for a few years to see what you can do if you move on to the astral plane. But then when you come back into the body, which is called reincarnation, you don't remember anything. Until rather the past couple years, people are starting to remember certain things, including their whole past life. Children are, because their karma is paid, and they had to work out a little bit of karma, and they came back. And now they're going to be much more aware and a wise being to make sure they don't create more karma so they don't have to come back again. Does that sound complicated? Or I want to be back with your family. Realize you were reincarnated many times, meaning you had many families. Why would you assume this family right now is the most important? If you're married 3 times in this lifetime, 2 of them died and 1 left you, and they all die and you die. Who are you going to be with? So, people don't follow through with their own thinking. Don't look at it in a real way. Oh, it's all going to be beautiful. Oh, you're going to sit at a table and talk? Really? What about when somebody kills somebody's wife or husband and things like that? You expect to be in heaven? Well, they're forgiven. Really? You don't know nothing about karma. You don't know nothing about spirit. You don't know nothing about the spiritual laws that exist. Okay, soul's here for a reason. To find out who, what soul is. All right. I'm just trying to catch a couple questions real fast. All right. Let me tell you this. Once you get past the astral plane, the games stop. The only games that exist are in the physical and the astral plane. Because you don't know better. You play until the game ends and you'll start a new game. But that's all you know. All right. So soul, when it comes into this body, when it's born, is an aware being. Can't talk yet, can't do things, but it's aware. You ever look at a baby like just looking at what they're looking at, and they really can't even see yet? All right, because they're using their third eye. But as they get grounded and tuned up with this planet, that fades, and then they got parents taking them out of the spiritual place that they're in, being aware of light and sound coming directly from God into this realm. And that gets blocked off as well. But then again, they program them with like the boogeyman and things like that. That allows that to come into their reality. So all these little things that man and women do hurt reality, don't help it. But are you ready to move forward right now? Do you want to know what Jesus was really teaching? Why they had to kill him? Was in charge of people right now. Planet Earth, who do you think's running these people? Musk and Gates and all these people. Thinking they can control the planet, control everything. Create a reality that they like. And nobody wants to look at it like, we're not going to be needed in 10 years. Well, you better start thinking what Agenda 21 is, UN Agenda 21, why the virus is spreading and becoming what it is, all at the same time, what's going down, why they're releasing all the UFO files in 2 months. All these things are manifesting right now. Because you're going to see it in your lifetime. Everything you say you might not want to have ever seen will be manifesting soon enough. All right? Now, getting back to, please, I'm trying to get through this. I would like to take calls and stuff, but I'll never get anywhere if I do. So I'm just going to keep going the best I can. for today, for Easter, between the night before Easter and what goes down. All right, so this soul leaves the body, comes back, unaware, starts all over. You say, well, deja vu and all those phrases. They come out of slight awarenesses from soul. Why, I did that already. I do that. Well, why do you stick your hand back in the fire every time you come back here? Because you didn't learn the lesson. Now, there's very few lessons you have to learn in this physical world. You understand that? Oh, I learned this. You didn't learn anything. I learned how to build a house. So I built a car. I knew how. I know. So what? Do you understand death at all? Do you understand reincarnation? Do you know anything about astral projection and all those kind of words? Just starting words to get you a little more tuned what soul can do and what it is. I was just talking to two girls about being a witch when I was younger. I say witch. I don't like warlock. But I was a high priest. Did I kill people and do things? No. I'm not going to say what I did, but I was. I went through it. We go through a lot of things, hopefully to learn the good and bad about it. Not, well, I learned I shouldn't kick somebody because I might get kicked back. Or if I spit on somebody, I might spit back at them. You don't have to learn stupid things like that. You're not here to learn that. You might feel you do. Well, I don't want to learn anything. I just want to watch people boxing and beat each other up. Now, that's cool. What's that teach you about anything? Football, baseball, hockey is a mind program. And here's my joke about it. All these sports, what do they play with? Balls. And they don't even got the balls to step forward in life and become a real spiritual being. No matter how big they are, how strong they are. They don't get nowhere. Spiritually. Money's not going to help them. All right. It gets complicated when you want to learn the truth. When Jesus was walking the planet and people came, children could see him a block away and ran towards him. Children are open to the light and sound. They can feel it and hear it and hear it. Parents take that away from them. I mean, when you say you work with an angel, oh, don't, it's only a dream or this or that. Just because they don't have the experience. So 90% of the people on this planet don't have an experience, so nobody wants you to believe your experience. If it's real. You could have a bad dream or a good dream and then say it's real. But the way you find out how real it is, as you move forward in life, by what you experience and what you see, and what you can experience outside of the body. It is important. The most important aspect of what you can learn in this lifetime is how to get out of your body. In the right way. Not by taking LSD, ayahuasca, or any of those other drugs. They'll put you out in space land. They won't take you to where you need to go. When you leave your body, you need your guides or angels that will teach you where you need to go, what you need to see, what you need to learn. You're not just going to find it by yourself. God created angels, deities, and all those words for a reason. Not because he wanted to see who could be stronger, who could be bad, and who could do this and who could do that. Yeah, God wants every soul to move forward. Sadly, most souls don't want to. If men knew, after they leave the astral plane, they don't have sex no more. They're no longer a male or female. What's that do to that? Or thinking of who and what they are. See, until you're ready to understand what you are inside this body, you're going to be relating to this body, not to the soul within it. UFO people, I listen to them. Talk about aliens, talk about this, them helping us. Help us what? Jesus was the most spiritual person, and they killed him. So some alien's going to come down and say, I'm going to teach you how to move forward. What? Build a stairway to heaven? Sounds like a song. What do you think is going to happen in the next couple of years? On June 1st, all the UFO files are supposed to be released. What comes out of that's going to be make-believe land, but who knows? Maybe we'll put something out there. that might just put a little spark under people to wake them up. Aliens aren't here to help us. Sorry, all you UFO people that call themselves experiencers. Did Jesus talk about things? He talked about everything. He talked about beings, angels, demons. Who else would know more about demons than him? Who would know more about Satan than Jesus himself? So, when you hear and you listen and you hear other people talk, who do you think controls the energy coming into this planet? If you can't hear it, guess who puts the energy there for you? So, today, what happened when Jesus came back? His soul came out of the cave. The stories get twisted. When Thomas said, can I touch the hole in your arm? And things. Soul doesn't have that. The remnants and the energy still exist because it's still the physical world. Did Jesus take a physical body and fly up into heaven and leave? No. People don't understand that either. And most people aren't ready to understand that. When he came back, he came back as Jesus. And he turned into light and went to heaven. No, it's not like that. Jesus gave birth. Well, he made Mary Magdalene pregnant in a physical body. His daughter was born in a physical body. So he was killed before she was born, right before she was born. So he never saw her in a physical body. As I don't want to get into Mary Magdalene yet. I want to finish trying to get into as much as I can about Jesus because it's the day that is the most important day for somebody that's aware or wants the truth, not lies about the Anunnaki and the Andorians and Andromedans and all the other races. They are not spiritual in any level or way. Oh no, they're much more. What? Technology doesn't make a soul spiritual. Money doesn't make a soul spiritual. All right. If there was anybody with a problem about anything I'm saying, please call me, text me. If you want to get more information directly on a specific thing you feel or know or understand or believe you understand, please, I'm open. I'll talk to anybody about anything pertaining to the things that I know. But the word karma is the most critical thing that we create here. Not a house, a boat, or any of those things, a fire. No, karma. Because what that does, it's like a savings bank. You can put as much as you want in there. It doesn't stop. You could put billions of dollars in there. But guess what? You got to pay for those billions of dollars that are in there. It's not like you just take that money out and use it. No. Karma is something you create where you remove it. Oh, good, bad karma. No, there's only bad karma. Because when you pay it off, you got no karma. And that means soul is free. There's such a difference to the words men use because they limited thinking and awareness of God and angels and all those words. Ask any person at a spiritual level, and I challenge every single one of them almost every day. Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, the Pope. I mean, these people talk. Talk is cheap. A native elder said, talk is just talk until it adds up to something, which it never does. Not in this planet, not by these people, not by aliens. They're not going to come down and give you spiritual awareness. They'll give you black magic for a word. Alien technology, but it's still not beneficial to the human body. All right. Now, everybody says, well, all these races are so much more spiritual. Why? Because they travel through space? The physical realm is space. All of it. The galaxies, the universes. And here's something that you can think about. They say, well, a galaxy is this big, the universe is this big, and galaxies and universes are this big. Well, take your hands and put them as far as you want. Apart. What's on the other side of your hand? More space. Okay, put your hand to the end of that space. Can you ever touch the end of space? No. When people talk about the bang and all the Big Bang and all those stupid words, they have no clue. They don't know anything about God. And even some of the one top scientist, uh, is he Japanese, whatever, but he talks at the one, he goes on and he said, there has to be, and this is coming from him, some intelligent form of creation that creates this. Because you take anything, let it mutate. It doesn't have to mutate better, which it usually doesn't. You don't mutate from a spider to a caterpillar to a camel to a horse to a monkey to a human. The idea of evolution was the most ridiculous idea. And people still believe it. The freaking, sorry, lousy word, the cavemen aren't here. We didn't evolve from them. All right? Dolphins have the same brain we do. We didn't evolve from them either. You want to talk about mermaids. You want to talk about these other things that existed that we don't want to talk about. We can't prove them right now. We can't do a lot of things. You know, we accept bull, and then we want more bull to fill it with pleasure. So if you're happy, you know, I don't know go into the stories, but if you're happy, you're in the wrong place. And I'm going to quote Jesus, what he said about that later. Hopefully I'll get to it. I got a long way to go. I better move a little bit faster or we'll be here all night, and I know you're not going to want to stay too long if you're even staying here right now. All right. People want to deal with God. They want to deal with their programmed idea of God. Moses' programmed idea of God. Anybody's programmed idea of God. Did you experience it? I'm going to say this, and I'm not saying it for any other reason, just to show you that there is things that can happen. Will it change things greatly? For you. Getting close to God. A real God. Not somebody's story of God. Not a man sitting on a throne. But a real God. What it is. How big is it? What does it think? What does it feel? Does it? Does it care? Does it love every single person on this planet? Of course not. Does it love every ant that you step on, every caterpillar you step on, every butterfly you rip their wings apart? Does it care about all them? Does it care about the child being sexually abused and chopped up and sold for body parts or any of that? You think God's caring about hell? You know, one thing you should realize, God knows you're a soul. That soul is going to grow sooner or later. And most of the time, it's always later. Meaning 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 lifetimes away. And then they might start looking for the truth. But if you believe you have truth, oh, I know that these aliens are this, or I know. No, they don't know. I'm not going to go into that side of my life. I do so many shows and talk about it enough. I mean, this is the most important day for understanding what's really important in life. Your life, nobody else's. Jesus isn't here to hang out with us. No, he doesn't need to be. And who would he want to hang out with? People that watch 90% of the planet starving, homeless, and everything else? Why would he come back, people? Because you love him and he has to love you? Really? When you leave your husband or your husband leaves you or wife, any of those kind of things. Where's the love? What happened to the love? It has to come back? No, it doesn't. You can hold love in your heart, but that doesn't make it come back. It doesn't. All right. Jesus was teaching about soul. Teaching to a bunch of fishermen about something they have no clue. How do you explain something that's invisible? You don't. So when he came with his message, and realize this, Jesus chose the mission that he chose to do. God didn't force him to do it. God doesn't force anybody to do anything. It allows us to grow. That's what it does. It allows us to mutate and become sick if that's what we want to as well. And most people choose that. All right. When you realize this is hell, you might look at it differently. In heaven, you don't see rape, sex, abuse, any of those words. You don't cheat, you don't lie, you can't steal. None of those things exist. So how can you compare that to a place where that's all you see and hear? You're brain dead. You're ignorant. You're programmed. And we're talking about Gates and Musk programming us and creating this horrible world. We're creating our own little world. Your religion is twisted, molded into something different. All right. I'm trying to think. I don't want to get too mixed up here. All right. When we talk about the Bible, which is the most popular, famous, sold Bible book on the planet, sure, rewritten a couple different times, different ways. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the four people in those, only two of them were Jesus' real disciples. The two other ones were evangelists. One was with Peter and one was with Paul. So their teachings came from each. One came from the one and one came from the other. Fact, whether you want to believe it or not. You can find it out. But the problem with that, everybody wrote books or had somebody wrote it about them. Mary Magdalene had a book. Judas had a book. They all had books. Judas's book was found. And then an alien person named Billy Myers Clint, he found Judas's book as well and wrote the Town of Jamad. I read it. It was, Jesus was an alien. Okay. All right. Now, the facts are, there was another book found of Judas. It was in ashes. And the guy was holding on it, thinking he was going to get billions of dollars or whatever. But finally, it came to the point where he got some money for it. This lady took 2 years to piece it back together. And Judas's book was able to become a manuscript. But here's the thing. Everyone had a story about them. How real were they? How close to each other? Doesn't matter. Bits of truth are there, but you have to find them within inside yourself. You're not going to find them anywhere else. Because when a person gets their truth, oh, I'm not going to tell nobody. Tell me what happened. Oh, I can't tell you that. That's secret. Secret? There's no secrets. Soul is giving in itself. All right? But in this physical reality, when you become a giving person, you may never get to where you want to be. Everybody out there will suck you dry. And that's the way life is here. Because most people don't understand God, don't understand the spiritual laws, or want to. All right? They don't want to understand about reincarnation. No, I'm going to heaven. Why? Do you deserve it? What did you do in this lifetime that makes you important to God? I did a lot of things. People say so many things and they can't come up with one thing. Why is that? Oh, I saved a person's life. Well, that's cool. What else did you do? I beat my child up because he was cursing. I did this. Right? You put all your karma together and you always have karma. How many souls can walk on this planet without creating it? It's hard. Am I free of karma? I live in instant karma. When John Lennon sang the song, Instant Karma is going to get you. Meaning, when you create karma, you pay for it right away. You don't have to wait till next lifetime. At a certain point, when you become a little more spiritually aware, you can see and know things, which helps you understand that. Who talks about that? Nobody. I was in a path called Ekankar, teaching you about how to leave the body. All right? And they always tell good stories and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to get into the details of why I left, why I was thrown out of it, and everything else in between that. The truth is, God is God, and there is no other. These deities which he allowed, I say he, accepted word, but it's a it, not a he. It's not he or she. It's not a goddess, and it's not he. It's not a person with body parts and things like that. So your concept of a God is completely programmed. Deities take a form of a being. Some of them take half animal and half human. But the reality of a real God, there is only one. And it's not sitting there on the throne. It's not saying, what's that person doing over there? What is that person doing over there? If it had to watch everybody, imagine that. I mean, we're talking about one planet here, 10,000 planets over there, and all the souls in every. What do you think it would want to do all that for? Oh, he's doing this wrong, he's doing that wrong. No. He created a beautiful reality for us to be in. It's up to us to move forward or move backwards. And mankind decides to go backwards, and people with money destroy it. I mean, now that I understand Republicans and Democrats and why the Democrats are against the Republicans, why the Republicans hate the Democrats, it's about money. There should be no money going down for publicity, for campaigning. That should be limited to everybody has the same amount of time, same amount of space, and everything else equal. We want somebody to be somebody because they're rich. Mark Cuban from Shark Tank, he's the richest person in the United States. He was going to run for president, and maybe he should have. I think he has some morals, more than some other people do. But this phrase is, and I'll repeat this maybe 10 times, it's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person to get into heaven. Why would Jesus say that? It's common sense. If you could hoard all this money in your pocket or your bank and sit on it, while children around you are starving to death, you're sick. I've been trying to get in touch with Oprah for 25 years or more. I wrote more letters to her workshops. I stayed in every one of them writing her letters, and I never got a reply. I mean, I even had Dr. Phil get back to me, but I didn't want to go on his show. My partner did. But Oprah, and she's working with Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle. She got them both super famous. They're considered the most spiritual people on the planet right now. And they know nothing about God. Nothing. How's that possible? Do people understand what spiritual means? You smile and you jump over now and make stupid faces. What does it mean? What does spiritual mean? It only means one thing. You can say whatever you want. Pull up the dictionary and go into all the phrases of what spiritual means. Understanding God. Not understanding ego, not understanding programs, not understanding people's sick minds. Understanding a real God. Getting to learn about it and things is the most important thing. How many people can do that? I will have an open debate with anybody that says they know God. Well, I talked to God, and God said, love everybody. Really? What did that do for mankind? God doesn't tell us what to do. If God wanted us to love everybody, we would have been doing that already. Jesus chose his mission to try to help that. Buddha chose his mission. His mission is to reincarnate until the last soul leaves this planet. To go where? Infinity land? See, all these teachings are partial truth. Do you understand that? Do you want the truth? Do you want all the truth? Or do you want to, well, I got a penny's worth. And what's that going to get you? It's not going to get you into heaven. $50 trillion is not going to get you into heaven. Right? I'm going to take, I just want to throw this in because I'll probably forget it. The Egyptians are considered spiritual people. Why? They knew nothing about reincarnation. They were programmed by a certain race about how to reincarnate. And they believed it. You see the way they crack the skulls and pull the jaw down and pull the brain out and they're going to reincarnate? Really? That makes them reincarnate? Really? Build a coffin and put everything you need in there so when you come back you have everything you need? Really? You're going to just pop up in a coffin and be back again? You can play in the astral world if that's your kind of games of life and importance. The physical body, you got a physical body. The astral body, you have an astral body. Aliens can use their astral body much more than we can in general. How you can go through a wall, how you can go from here to your ship and things like that. But so what? They're not getting out of the astral plane. Soul, all souls going into the astral plane are connected by a silver cord. That silver cord keeps them from going into any other world. And then you got the three gods that stay there that make sure you don't. Now, that silver cord, and you won't hear this in general by anybody, keeps you from getting lost in the astral plane. It keeps you from going anywhere else as well. If you cut that cord, what happens? I studied with a medicine woman 26 years. She said, you will die. I debated her 3 times and realized it's not worth the debate. Let her believe what she wants. I cut my cord a long time ago. You can't get past the astral plane until you let go of that cord, until it's removed from your body. It's a safety mechanism. God was never stupid, ignorant, dumb, any of those words. Never. I mean, in its development of what people should look like, or what animals should look like, it was pretty creative. Pegasus, unicorn, even that, mankind couldn't deal with it. Mermaids, all those exist. But people don't even talk about the elementals, which exist as well. So, people are so locked into one aspect of life. Money, fame, power. Not into spiritual awareness, connection to energy and soul. And well, people say, I chant energy, I work with energy. Yeah, that's a limited thing as well. If you don't know where it goes to and what it becomes and what's coming back from it. There's 2 streams that come from God. One comes down and one goes back to it. And the bliss state is right smack in the center of both of them. It feels the vibration and everything. It's not thinking and it's just stuck there. So if you went into a bliss state, you'd be in La La Land knowing nothing. You wouldn't even know who you are. And if you get caught in that place, it's that much longer for you to move forward. All right. Let's go back to 2,000 years. 2,000 years ago. The beginning and ending of spiritual awareness. All right. Jesus came. Jesus was killed. 2030 years ago. All right. Mary Magdalene was teaching his disciples how to become teachers and go out on their way. But you think people accepted power? Spiritual power is scary to non-spiritual people. So they killed everybody they could. How did they kill Peter? I mean, the ways they killed him, I mean, it wasn't even a crucifixion. I mean, decapitation and things like that. Like, I don't want to get into those stories. They're gross. I mean, even when you come up to Gandhi and how he had to be, he was killed. I mean, you go into the stories, most spiritual people are killed. Poisoned. Sometimes they don't get poisoned and die, which I know 2 people lived for a while. Only a few spiritual people, out of all the spiritual people, so-called spiritual people that existed on this planet, only a few of them lived till they were 80 and died of an actual problem. But who did they become? What were they really teaching? Nothing important. Being happy. Happy, happy, happy. There's 5 emotions in the body, 5 senses. They don't pertain to spiritualism. None of them do. Love. Love is a concept, an idea. All right. When Jesus showed it, it was accepted and became sexual. And they realized it had to do with birth and the child and unity. Jesus was only with Mary Magdalene a short time. but they could see it and feel it. Love, you can feel it when it's real. And I'm not saying temporary. Love is not temporary. Mankind assumes it is and accepts that it is because it's not real love. And to understand love, the first, most important thing is you have to understand how to love God. It's not complicated, but it's not easy either. How do you love something you don't know what it is? You don't. You work to get the experience to understand it? Yes, you do. Or you should be. If you're not working towards that, you're not working towards anything beneficial. Jesus was a carpenter, a little young carpenter with his father. And then he disappeared. I think they don't know the exact times and dates and all that. He disappeared roughly 12 years. Which I have to get into before I let the show go, is the one word that happened. All right. When he left, he was missing. He was young. He was only 30 years old roughly when he died. When he left, he was about 12, 13. Who knows the exact age? I didn't know him then. I only knew him when he met Mary Magdalene. But here's the thing. All right. He went to a place, a sacred space, where he learned 32 psychic abilities. That wording for that to happen is called ascension. All right. Many people like to use the word. They're full of it. They're liars. They're deceitful, evil people. I only know one soul that ascended in this reality. There could have been one or two more. Not in any lifetimes that I served. All right. An ascension, you go through the gateway, which they talk about in the pyramids and stuff, but it's not going to be touched physically. And there's all kinds of things you got to do to get there. And there's a proper meditation, movement, and all those things that make it so that the body's in alignment so that soul can leave it and go there. But you don't want to know that. You want to know how to make money. You want to know how to be famous. You want to know how to have 10 girlfriends, 10 boyfriends, be rich, have the best car, whatever it is. Do you want to know what ascension really means? People ascend. And ascend means leave the physical realm to the astral plane. That's all it means. It has nothing spiritual going on. You're not spiritual because you die. You don't become spiritual because you die. It's amazing the mind programming that people accept and go through. Now, people, younger people more so than not, are starting to remember their past lives, or at least one of them, and go into proving it. And then they can actually prove it to themselves. And we're not everybody. We're not all the same. We're not one. That oneness idea is another programmed idea to take us away from who and what we really are. If I was one with all the people on this planet, I'd blow myself up spiritually. I wouldn't want to be part of that. I'm separate. I'm different. Why would I want to be part of that? All right. But people want to be one and know we're all united and we're loving people and you're letting children starve every second. Really? You're compassionate. Really? People are delusional and believe it, which is, it's so hard for me to even open my eyes in the morning and say I'm going to talk to a person on this planet. They're so delusional. I do one show with a woman who's been being abducted parts of her life by aliens. And I totally know she's real. And she has more proof than almost anybody else in the UFO world. But it doesn't make aliens good. It sure doesn't. And they are not. So waiting for the knight to come in on a white horse and save us all is another delusional idea. We prove ignorance. We don't prove awareness. We can destroy the planet, but we can't make it better. We could do it. This is a fact. For every sickness we cure, we create three more. Check it out. All the doctors that do the research on that will say it's true. When they came here and destroyed the native people, they brought them all kinds of diseases that they didn't have, didn't need, didn't want, however you want to look at that. All right, people that are programmed will not accept the truth. No, why would they? They got their own false truth. If you stare at a person's face and look into their eyes, you can see through. The eyes are the gateway to their soul. You heard that phrase? It's so true. People that can't let you in there, look in there and look them in the eyes have a serious problem. If they do, you can see inside. You can see who they are if you are aware. You can't hide what soul is. Another soul, if they're aware, can see it. I'm not going to go into the stories because I have some, but my time's kind of getting stretched out already, and I know you're getting bored to the max, or you just want some miracle and then to leave. I don't know what you want, why you're even listening, unless you want truth and a way to find it. All right. The idea, again, that Jesus went to India. No, he didn't. Not in the end, not to teach. He was dead. His body was. And he left this physical realm. At that time frame, everybody had beards and everybody looked the same. And we didn't have credit cards, ID cards, and all those kind of words. So you could prove who you were. So when Thomas went to India, he was assumed because he was teaching Jesus' teachings. Some people said, well, that's Jesus. That's Jesus. But again, he had the teachings that he was teaching then. It was only released not too many years ago. India admitted that Thomas was teaching in India. So truth comes out little by little. In the end, all the truth will come out. But what ending are we talking about? Your life, the life of the planet, life of the universe? What? Well, there'll always be a place for people to serve out their karma. And it doesn't have to be planet Earth. All right. Jesus died. And when he died, they put him in his cave. And they laid him on this piece of material. I put it over him. Today, they can't figure out how it was created. Or created. The Shrouded Quran. All right. Now, how real is that? Did it prove it? It proves something that this miracle thing was created. And there's no other way to prove that it was created or how it was created. All right. So there's things that happen, little smidgens of truth here and there that can help find the points of truth if you want them. But when people write another document saying this document's false and this document's real, guess what? Then you got people debating which one's real. Well, you have to make this decision in your life. What do you want to do for Easter? Serve Easter eggs? Look for Easter eggs? Think about the truth. Look in the mirror and think about who you really are. So, what do you want to happen to you when you die? You're going to ascend into the astral plane. Do you want to stay there? That should be your next question. When you start looking at yourself as soul, what do you want for it? I want to be happy. The feelings and emotions are only temporary. They're guided by the brain. Soul is not guided by the brain. Quickly, when you leave your body, soul isn't describing or forcing any of that to happen. It can't control it. When it comes back into the body, it controls how the brain perceives what just happened and translates it to make the body become aware of it. Meaning, if you see a butterfly with a dragon's head on it, and you come back into this reality, oh, it was just a squished butterfly or whatever. It doesn't have the reality to understand what it sees if it doesn't know what it is. Sorry about that blackout. I should have been using my other computer. Uh, when you go to the astral plane, all right, you just died. You're taken to the astral plane. You can stay there anywhere from 5, 10, 15 years, depending on your karma. Most people's karma says that they have to come back. Nobody has to make that decision. Your karma makes it for you. If you got good karma and you want to come back, you can go back to your family. Be the child of your granddaughter or whatever. Things like that. But is that where you want to start all over again? Being attached to a family. And it'll keep you coming back forever. If you're attached to family, you're not going to find God. You know, I'm going to try to get, I got to look at my notes here. I want to get to, when we say rise in awareness, what's that mean? Well, you go from kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, eighth grade, high school, college. Can a kindergarten child say, I'm going to college and start going to college? No. Can a first grader say, I'm going to college and walk into a college and start going to college? No. Because it's steps that a person has to learn in the physical reality. It's the same in the worlds. You have to learn to take which step and which steps you can take and can't. It's not easy. It's the most hardest thing there ever will be, and it's the only thing worth all the energy to attain and achieve. You'll lose nothing by putting more into it. You'll get more back. I'm going to get to the quotes just for Christian people. Probably can't listen to this show in the first place, but if they ever do, I know I have a few people that might listen to this whole thing. And what Jesus said about all that. He talked and talked and talked about truth in every way that he could perceive to help mankind understand it. Well, Jesus showed love, and by that his disciples learned what love was, and they were all married. They had children. They understood it at that level. But the things, when you become aware, or want to become aware, and have to start moving further up the line, you learn about psychic abilities. They do not work, they work here now, but they're not right to use now. If you had 32 psychic abilities, and even had one of them to a percentage of like even 80, 90%, you would change the reality of the planet. If you could levitate a penny, you can levitate a car. If you can levitate a car, you can levitate a mountain. You're not dealing by weight. You're not dealing by any of those ideas of chemistry that's locked into the physical reality. Once you go into a higher dimension of being aware and stuff, things change. But it doesn't go higher than the astral plane. But when you use psychic abilities, which was called witchcraft, voodoo, and things like that as well, it was always considered bad. Why did they burn witches? Why did they kill witches? Men too. Alright? Voodoo was always to hurt other people. I mean, it was used in good ways as well. But it was used to kill people as well. So, psychic abilities, when somebody says they're a psychic healer and things like that, they're limited in what they can do. I mean, one show on TV, I don't say names, but she's an incredible, gifted person to talk to the beings and entities that are there, or see them at least. If you're higher awareness, you can see anything lower in awareness around you. If you look, you don't have to look for it, but if you do, you can see it. Alright? So if there's demons and things like that, which are real, you can see it. You can block it. You can protect yourself from it. You can. And it's always up to you to do that. All right. Now, while we played that game, let's say a couple names because people get it pretty screwed up. Lucifer and Satan. Well, Satan's the son of Lucifer and this and that. And like when you hear about the deities, you hear two kind of human entities, not human, but physically looking human entities, uh, produce an elephant child. I mean, the ideas that were created are exaggerated, twisted. Deities exist, but the stories get changed around them by the people who work with them and the people who don't work with them. Deities are not God. Angels are not God. Nobody's God. And you are not one with God. All right? You can be working towards God, but that doesn't make you part of God. In a way, in the abstract way, we came from God, so we are a part of it. But we will never become the awareness of God. Because every time you learn something, I learn something, 10 billion people learn something, God learns that as well. So all the mistakes we do, God knows it. All the good things we do, God knows it. But how do you know? I can't even prove this myself. The other realms that God's playing with. How many realms could he take the good souls from here and put them there? I created a world for myself in a higher realm. I only went there a limited time. I save it for when I have to go there. I put a couple things there, but I did something that proved to me that made it a little more real. I took a friend of mine with me there. And we came back and we talked. And it was a female, and she said what she saw, and I said what I saw, what I was doing, what she saw. And she took me to her realm where she goes. That was an incredible experience. That was just my friend's wife, girlfriend at the time. And it was an incredible thing. It was for awareness. She received something from it, and so did I. So there's things we need to do to get to the next step. All right. Now, Gabriel and Michael, which were considered the highest angels, fell down with Lucifer. And they all came down here. Now, Muslim religion, Muhammad, claims he worked with Gabriel. Angels aren't there sitting, teaching, talking to you on phrases and words and writing out the Ten Commandments for you and things like that. When Muhammad said he was told all these things, 36 phrases, read them. And you'll see every third one contradicts the one two before it. How's that? A spiritual being teaching you to contradict what you're saying and do? Talk to people. No, don't talk to lots of people. Hide from people, but be with everybody. I mean, every other sentence was the opposite of what the other sentence says, which was pretty lame. But find out that for yourself if you think you want to become a Muslim. Look at their strategies on working with a woman, the same as the Hasidic Jewish people. The abuse women have to go through. Check it out. These are so-called religions. Has nothing to do with what God thinks, feels, or wants, or does. So reading a person's aura, which is seeing or looking into their eyes or looking into them, they can't hide it. There's a protection? No. You're protected by your aura. Doesn't mean they can't see that. If your aura is orange or green or purple, black, whatever colors it is, if a person can read auras, they can see it. You can't hide it. You can't change it. Yes, you can change your vibration in time and things like that. Because somebody's looking at you, you can't make it go from black to golden blue or whatever. Golden yellow, golden white. It's not possible. Well, while we're here, we're playing with Satan. Michael and Gabriel are hanging out around here as well. Can you work with them? Try to. See what you get. See what they teach you. See what they give you. See what proof they give to mankind about that. And why do you think none of them come publicly here now? You need to fill in the lines. If we're so far into being hell, why would any good being want to come here? Especially when you're already programmed, you're bad, you'll burn in hell forever. Why would you think you'd have to change that? Every soul doesn't help God become God. God doesn't need anything to be God because it already is. And has been and always was. So does it need your puny little soul to become better? No, but it's allowing you to become better as a soul. So now, let me see if I can go through a lot of this. I don't want to give you too much more stuff. Well, Tibetans use the word deities, and deities are cool. I work with 3 different deities. They're real. They have a mission to teach what they know, and that's what they teach. Not every deity is going to teach you the same thing or can teach you the same thing. And there's so many of them, and they all have different names for different things that they do and teach. So, in general, do you think you pick your own deity? No. Do you think you pick your own angel? No. Just because you're going to the world Gabriel, and if an angel appears, you're going to say he's Gabriel. It's not like that. What do they really look like? What are their features? How big is an angel? Do you have a clue? Did you ever stand with an angel in their reality on the astral plane? Check it out. I did. It's incredible. Size is limited by our perception. How big could a god be? And how big are the deities? Big in their natural form. Alright? So, I'm trying to get you through enough stuff for Easter to think about what we're really going through. What Jesus tried to bring out to mankind. And mankind was definitely not ready for it. And they're still not. They're not ready for what God was really teaching. They don't want to leave this world. This is beautiful. How can you say that? The water is beautiful. The tree is beautiful. The flowers are beautiful. Mankind is sick. So what's more important, the trees or the man? In whose life? The tree's life or the man's life? Well, religion changed. I could do another part of this. Maybe I will. This goes into a lot of other ideas and stuff, which I don't think I want to bring you there right now. I had you here for an hour and a half, and I think that's enough torture for the average person. But what did I want to tell you before I let you go? I'm going to get near the end. And I'll forget where I was, but let's get back to the end. Freedom. I wanted to talk about that. Just tell you, you will never have freedom in hell. What would make you think you could deserve it or have it? With demons and entities and everything walking around, you're going to have freedom? Freedom to do what? Oh, well, freedom to do whatever I want. Which is, go swimming, walk around naked, drink, party. What do you think freedom means? In hell. In the higher realms, you have, that's what I want to tell you, you have total freedom. Freedom becomes what you are, a free soul. But you only get freedom when you learn respect of God. And that's not easy. I mean, the deities, you have to go past each deity to get closer to God. And if you can't get past the first deity, you're never going to get to see God or get closer to it. And there's certain things I'm not going to tell you, but I'll give you a simple clue. It's what you really vibrate at. Can you change your vibration? I'm vibrating at the highest level there is. You can tell your mind that. What are you? The deities work on vibration, light, and sound. And basically when you go there, that's what you are. What sound is it? How strong is it? Well, alright. Freedom is not real. Not here. So when it's free, can do anything. Go anywhere. Be anywhere. You can't do that here now. And don't let aliens tell you they're gonna give you freedom, because they will not. Because they can't. They don't have that ability to give it to you. But what I wanted to realize, if I can find it, because people might say blah 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 blah. Now, if you can give this to all your friends, this video, please do. If you have Christian friends, please give them this. That's why I have to put this part into it. If people claiming to be Christians read the Bible from cover to cover, understood some of it, they might understand what Jesus was actually saying. They would have no problem understanding earth is hell. That sound complicated? Hope not. When Jesus talked, he was always talking about being in heaven, not on earth. Jesus had to talk to a lot of ignorant people. All right, here's something that was really critical. To me it was, maybe not to you. Jesus said, it's not what you put in the body, it's what comes out of it. Take it for what it means. What comes out of your body? Sound? Byproducts? What? What comes out of your body? It's disgusting. Whatever it is. I mean, you can come out with a beautiful song, but it's what comes out of your mouth, not what goes into it. All right. Jesus said in the Bible, Mark 10:18, don't call me good, G-O-O-D, for there is only one, and that is God. Coming from Jesus. Did you understand what he just said? Don't call me good? Does that make him God? No, it doesn't. Makes him anything but God when he says only God is. He didn't say I am. Not there, he didn't. Jesus said, Luke 14-26, hate everything. Your mother, your father, your family, your life. And then you can follow me. Do you understand that? It's in your Bible. Do you understand what it means? Try to think it out. Try to put it in that brain and say, what does that mean? Hate everything. I'm supposed to love everybody and everything. Who said so? Who told you? All right. Think about it. What does it mean? Jesus said, Mark 10:29-30, leave everyone, your family, friends, children, and home. All right. Second sentence to that. You will have 100-fold in heaven. Did you hear that? Do you understand what that just said? Do you believe it? No. But Jesus said it. So you believe a lot of other things. I mean, all the stories everybody else says in the Bible. Well, my Bible's highlighted in red. Everything Jesus said. But when Jesus says it, what's it mean? It's not complicated to figure that out. I mean, Jesus did talk in parables because he had to relate it to what they could perceive and understand. You can't relate a spaceship to a cigar and say, well, that's a cigar spaceship. I mean, what would it mean to a person at that time frame? What's a cigar spaceship? Again and again and again, over and over and over again. We live life, die, and come back. So when he said you will have 100-fold, think about that. There are 3 sentences that you really should understand. He says you're in hell. He says you can't be attached to it. And he says you'll be better when you leave. That's complicated for what Jesus came here to teach. Not about protecting you from all the ignorant things you do, the people you hurt and things. Not about how you should love everybody, good, bad, or indifferent. The truth's out there. Are you ready? Do you want to deal with it? Can you face it? So people, I'm sorry if you got upset, you don't like what I said. It's only the truth. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to listen. And if you're still here, at least you listened. I'm just glad at that. Because it can only help you. It's not going to hurt you. Anything I say is not going to hurt you if you prove whatever you need about it to yourself. I don't even take anything I say for granted and say, just because I said it. I'm a nobody. I'm just a person. All right, people. I kept you here for a while. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. Peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in life. Till next time, you heard it here.